The camera was still rolling when the shots rang out, capturing the exact moment a mother's laughter turned to silence forever. On a quiet Saturday morning in New Albany, Indiana, 25-year-old Kaitlynn Lee was doing what millions of young people do every day, making a TikTok video with her friend. The kitchen of the Valley Ridge apartments was filled with laughter as the two women danced and lip-synced to their favorite song. For Kaitlynn, this was a rare moment of pure joy, a brief escape from the chaos that had consumed her life over the past few months. Those who knew Kaitlynn would tell you she had always been a bright light in any room. During her high school years, she was a cheerleader, upbeat, outgoing, and always ready to bring people together. Her childhood friend Michaela Hodges remembered her as someone who was very outgoing, always wanted to go out and do stuff, hang out with people. Even in her 20s, that same infectious energy remained, especially when she was with her 3 young children. Kaitlynn was a devoted mother who would have done anything for her kids. Her aunt Pamela Greenwell, who considered Kaitlynn like one of her own children, often spoke about how much Kaitlynn loved being a mom. Her aunt said, her kids were her world, she would give anything for them. The youngest of her 3 children was just 1 year old, a baby she shared with Joshua Thompson, a man who would soon shatter her world completely. That Saturday morning, August 10th, 2024, Kaitlynn was staying at her friend's apartment. She had been moving from place to place for months, desperately trying to find safety and peace. The apartment on Village Drive was supposed to be another temporary refuge, a place where she could breathe freely without looking over her shoulder. As she danced in the kitchen with her friend, the phone recording their every move, Kaitlynn seemed genuinely happy for the first time in months. The TikTok video showed exactly what it was supposed to. 2 friends having fun, laughing, dancing, and singing along to music. To anyone watching, it would have looked like just another ordinary moment shared on social media. But what the camera couldn't capture was the constant fear that lived in Kaitlynn's heart, or the fact that somewhere in the shadows, someone was watching her every move. The video was rolling at exactly 5 a.m. when their dance routine was interrupted by a sound that would haunt everyone who heard it: the sharp banging of someone hitting the kitchen window. Both women stopped mid-dance, their carefree expressions instantly replaced by concern as they turned toward the source of the noise. What happened next would be preserved forever on that TikTok video, creating evidence that no one would ever want to see. To understand what happened that morning, we have to go back to April 2024, when Kaitlynn's aunt Pamela received a devastating phone call. Kaitlynn was on the other end, and something was terribly wrong. Pamela said, "In April of this year, she called me and he had beat her really badly, and I went and picked her up, and she was blue and black like all over." When Pamela arrived, she found her niece covered in bruises from a vicious assault by Joshua Thompson, the father of Kaitlynn's youngest child. Thompson was arrested, and the courts issued an emergency protective order to keep him away from Kaitlynn, but as Pamela would later say, they issued an EPO to protect Kaitlynn, and it didn't protect her. It didn't protect her. The months that followed were a nightmare of constant fear. Pamela explained she had to hop from place to place to be able to stay away from him. In just 4 months, Kaitlynn moved 3 times, each relocation another desperate attempt to find safety for herself and her children. But Thompson seemed determined to find her, consistently ignoring the protective order. Friends described their relationship as toxic and said they were always at odds with each other. In a conversation that would prove chillingly prophetic, Kaitlynn told her friend that if she was ever found dead, then Joshua killed her. Despite the previous violence and multiple violations of the protective order, Thompson remained free to stalk and terrorize Kaitlynn. The family tried desperately to help her escape. Pamela remembered, "We tried to reel Kaitlynn out of that relationship for so long, and she was set in her ways and so vulnerable that she thought no one was going to do her wrong. What made everything worse was that children were often present during these incidents. Thompson had been charged with domestic battery committed in the presence of a child, yet the legal system continued to fail in protecting the family. By August 2024, Kaitlynn was staying with her friend, hoping this time might be different. But Thompson's obsession with controlling her hadn't diminished. It had only grown more dangerous. The truth was becoming clear. The protective order was worthless, and Joshua Thompson was not going to stop until he destroyed her completely. At 5 a.m. on that Saturday morning, Joshua Thompson violated his no-contact order and drove to the apartment where Kaitlynn was staying. He later admitted to police that he had been watching from outside, wanting to see if she was with any other men. The TikTok video captured everything. One moment, Kaitlynn and her friend were laughing and dancing in the kitchen. Then came the violent banging on the window, Thompson hitting the glass with the barrel of his handgun. Both women stopped mid-dance and turned toward the disturbance. It was then that Kaitlynn saw Joshua Thompson pointing a gun directly at her through the window. In what would be her final words, she asked, "What are you doing here?" No. Thompson admitted to police that he knocked on the window with his gun hard enough to break the glass, then pulled the trigger. He fired 2 to 3 shots directly at Kaitlynn through the broken window. The police affidavit describes what the video captured next. A second later, a blast from the area of the window is seen, and Kaitlynn's head is forced to the right side of her body. Kaitlynn's body falls from its position and out of view. Smoke can be seen hanging in the room, and the video shuts off. After shooting Kaitlynn, Thompson fled the scene, but quickly called his brother, crying and confessing what he had done. Following his brother's advice, he called 911 himself and told the dispatcher he had shot the mother of his child. When police arrived, they found Kaitlynn with a fatal gunshot wound to the head. Despite efforts to save her life, the 25-year-old mother of 3 was pronounced dead at the University of Louisville Hospital. Thompson was arrested and charged with murder, criminal recklessness, invasion of privacy, and unlawful carrying of a handgun. During his court hearing, Pamela Greenwell was struck by his complete lack of remorse. She said, "There is no remorse. He didn't want her. They had been separated." Thompson was held without bond awaiting trial. The community rallied around Kaitlynn's family, with her cousin setting up a GoFundMe page for funeral costs and to support her 3 children. The family held a balloon release in her memory, with messages written for her children to remember how much their mother was loved. The TikTok video that was supposed to capture a moment of joy became evidence in a murder case. It serves as a devastating reminder that domestic violence can escalate to its deadliest form in an instant, even when protective orders are in place. 3 young children now face growing up without their mother because of one man's decision to choose violence over letting go. Kaitlynn Lee had spent months trying to escape Thompson's control, but the system that was supposed to protect her ultimately failed. Her voice, captured in those final moments asking, "What are you doing here?" will forever serve as a reminder that domestic violence is not a private matter. It's a crisis that requires all of us to recognize the warning signs before it's too late.